What's wrong?
Oh, we may be having a laggy stream.
Again?
Well,
You know, earlier today I was trying to do something online and it.
hmm.
But like everything was fine. Streaming is fine. Like so much is fine that it's really difficult. Oh, right. While you're standing, can you also get the overhead lights?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I should brighten up considerably after all that.
Tervetuloa LangTime Studioon. Olen David ja vaimoni on.
I don't know.
Jesse,
But you said Vaimoni. Are you dating?
my wife.
Oh, yeah, I guess that is me. That's me.
Okay. How'd I do? How'd I do, Ilona? Sorry, Ilona. Yeah.
I'm gonna be so left behind. I just need to keep studying.
So.
Ooh. Just a second. I'm doing my checkpoint.
Yeah. So anyway,
I have sent 764 messages on Discord this year. I'm in the top 19.76%. I don't know how that's possible.
how'd you get that? I still haven't got mine. Anyway.
I opened it up and it was giant.
But I wanted to just to not only say hello, but to remind everybody that next week we will be off because next week we are going to be in Finland. Woo!
Yay!
And we are going to meet Ilona for the first time.
Yay!
We're going to be presenting at Helsinki University on Wednesday. And then to cap off the week, we're going to head to Rovaniemi. So the only thing that everybody has to do in the week off is to just do whatever you can, like whatever's in your power, to bring the Northern Lights while we are there. I understand that that's kind of a big thing, and it'd be like, well, I'm just one person, what can I do? But, you know, any small thing that you can do to kind of help promote the Northern Lights occurring while we are in Finland would be greatly appreciated.
Like if everyone could hold up magnets that day, because I hear it's a magnetic storm, really, and I'm sure that it's completely affected by what we do here on Earth with our own magnets. So just hold a magnet up high that day.
And if you
all days that we're there, really.
And if you see any clouds, just try to eat little bits of them. You know, just suck them up a little
you
bit.
could like
or
create
push
a wind.
them away. Just push them, you know, westward or southward. I guess depending on your location.
Also, just FYI, my top server on Discord is, of course, LangTime.
Oh.
That's no surprise there.
Yeah.
Let's Have a Booba came in third.
By the way, Let's Have a Booba, it looks like Let's Have a Booba is also going to be off next week. Let's see, we just froze there.
Oh, well, while we're frozen, I'll tell you my squad, my Discord squad is you, Jake, and Madeline.
Ooh. It says that OBS is using significant energy, which shouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
Anyway, I'm just gonna...
I touched too much grass.
get the bat language up there. And I'm gonna...
But one person is always my go-to, and that's Madeline.
No.
That's Madeline. We have 82 messages shared and
What?
6 hours in voice. Me and Madeline.
You've got to be kidding me.
That's my Discord sidekick. We spend too much real face-to-face time.
On my own stream.
Woo!
On my own stream.
Oh, I am claiming this now as my gift. Oh, everyone, look at my profile now. It should be done. Okay, let me check if my profile shows it. Where am I? No. Just a second, I've got to edit. They gave me a thing, and it's the perfect one for me. I'm going to figure out how to do this. There we go. Save changes. There. Okay. Now when you go on Discord.
I muted in a time, right?
I think you did. Yes. Okay, you can see it now. They gave me a snail on Discord, a little dancing snail on my profile.
Let's see this. Let's see, where did
Here, I'll post something.
yeah, you gotta post something.
I've been besnailed. There we go. I just posted in chat.
Oh, look at that little snail. That's
me.
That's a very Jessie snail too, with a pink shell and everything.
Right? Oh, how delightful. Oh, and it froze in a great place. Thank you for that, Jake.
So it's still doing the freezing thing, huh? I turned off my computer beforehand. I think I have somewhat of an idea what happens and how it can be fixed. I'm gonna try something. Everybody hold your breath.
Okay.
Okay, this library.
As you're doing that, this is when I hope Madeline doesn't mind that I shared our stats online. Hey, Madeline. I hope you don't mind.
All right, and we're just gonna dump that too. We're gonna do an empty trash and see if that improves things.
Fingers crossed.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, I thought I'd pull open Discord because I like to have that open during our stream because sometimes people will post things and I try to, stay in the loop. And it just popped up for me. Like I did nothing. It was just like, hey, do you want to see your checkpoint? And I only knew that was a thing because of you all this morning in chat. And so...
There's also a YouTube recap, but like I don't see it. I don't know if that one's only on mobile or only not on mobile. But...
And I only, I know what my YouTube recap will be, so I'm not, because I only ever use the LangTime account to watch Let's Have a Booba. Or I use, my personal account gets used for lo-fi streaming music while Meridian's doing homework.
Yeah.
So
we both use the LangTime account, so,
Yeah. So, I mean, for you it may be interesting, but I
also log into your account too sometimes.
Oh, so then I can see what you do in my account.
Yeah.
Other than that, I watch a lot of how-to knitting and crocheting tutorials, but not from a given channel, just from whatever channel has the best video for what I'm trying to do.
Jonathan says YouTube said their top genre was language learning, which must be how these streams are classified. That would be interesting because it's not, of course, anybody who does YouTube, it's not an option you're offered. So when we make our videos or our stream, it's like, what's the primary purpose? And I look it up and none of them.
Yeah.
So I did how to. That's it. It's kind of appropriate.
Well, apparently you can get a recap award, and Madeline's was most likely to design a whole new world before morning coffee. And I think that is fully appropriate.
That's pretty good. All right. So I'm going to jump up. You take care of business.
Oh.
It's a tough day.
Well, David's been struggling with some allergies. Also, just FYI for anybody who does gloss their example sentences, like I do and like David never does. But if you are a glosser and you're noticing that you have this tiny word that gets used a lot and it's frustrating to have to keep typing out this whole gloss. This is in reference to a very specific comment on Discord. A couple things you may consider are shortening up. So like if it's something that gets used a lot, it may take its own little gloss marker that can be defined somewhere in like an abbreviation section. But something where suddenly like 4 labels can get condensed into 1. Or even just like the first letter of each major label, and so it gets acronymed, so that way it's much shorter to type. And I would only do that for ones where it's like it gets used so much you don't need to remember what all the pieces stand for. I only type out all the pieces if it's something that is not used frequently enough that I could look at it and just know, or something that like I really need to make sure these details are fully outlined. The highly specific comments are yes. I just, I don't want to say things unless people are happy knowing who said what. And so, yeah. Oh, Christian, welcome back. Yes, we are still indeed doing things. Christian is back after like 5 years. Hooray!
Oh, I remember that name. It's a name that I always remembered as being spelled Siebold, and it
instead
never
of
was.
And I bet is it pronounced more Christian or is it Christian?
I mean, my guess would be Christian Siebold, but that's because anytime I look at anything remotely German, I just assume it's German.
Just go for it.
Because that was my first foray into the Germanic languages.
Right.
Much to Mateus's chagrin.
Indeed.
So, you wanna take care of the poll for the week?
Yeah.
So, because I know what it is and I know where we're going now, and it's going to be a little bit difficult.
And cool, Ducky, glad you're here before you go off to sleep.
Yeah, congratulations. And again, you can tell us about pronunciation. Till I'm corrected, it's going to be Christian. Yeah.
Indeed, congratulations.
Yeah. Okay, so regarding our poll, we were talking about, hold on a second, I'm going to move this a little bit over. Our poll was noun classes. We decided that we wanted to have noun classes for our bats. Oh, hey, Logan. What is the thing I was going to say? What am I doing?
You're doing poll results?
Thank you. All right, so we're doing.
I thought you wanted something more specific. Sorry, so I stared at you a second.
We are doing noun classes in our bat language, and so we came up with several different options for noun classes in the language. Again, none of these have any phonology associated with them. This is just really going to be semantics or morphology. So the things that everybody was deciding between were a simple binary distinction, like you see in something like Spanish or something like Arabic, but rather than masculine and feminine, it would be day and night. So,
which is very batty.
Yeah, simple in some ways, much more complicated in other ways. Next, the rest of these are more traditional noun class systems. So the first was, for B, was flight focused. That is, things that are relevant to flying. Because, of course, at least for our game, one of the primary things that the bats are going to be known for is flight. This is actually going to be their kingdom ability. They're going to be able to fly, which means that obstacles will not bother them.
Traps?
Yeah. Traps, water, small obstacles, as long as it's not a large obstacle. They'll be able to fly right over it. They just won't be able to finish their turn on some other thing.
And thank you, Christian, for letting us know.
My name is the normal pronunciation of Christian, like their religion, but
Siebold.
Siebold. Okay, so of Germanic descent.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Anyway, so but actually, I think maybe they should be able to end their turn on traps or large obstacles, or obstacles, just not over another person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they could end a turn on a trap but not set it off. Is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Yeah. I don't. Oh.
I feel like
Wait,
I feel like
no.
if you end a turn on a trap,
No,
you
you're
got to
right.
set it off. However,
Because
you can fly
bats
over it.
can't hover.
Right. They
Right.
swoop. Yeah.
No, that's okay. Okay, never mind. Perfect. Thank you. This is why we're doing this. Okay. Anyway, but what was I going to say? All right. So these classes would be focused on things that are relevant to flight. So, for example, there are animate things that are capable of flight and animate things that are not. That would be two of the classes. Then there would be tall plants versus other plants. Obviously, this is relevant because tall plants you need to worry about, other plants not so much when you're flying. Same for large inanimate versus small inanimate, basically whether you can fly over it or not. And then atmospheric permeable, like air or clouds, versus atmospheric impermeable, like water or other things like that, or fire. Basically, something that you can comfortably fly through versus something that you cannot. I was a huge fan of this system. I was very excited about this system. You can maybe tell where this is going. C was...
Well, I know what didn't win if you...
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
C was focused on danger. So it's kind of like the above system, but a bit simpler. It's just basically animate, living, non-animate, and inanimate, and then it's whether it's safe or dangerous. This was shamelessly cribbed from my language Erathiant from Defiance that had 18 noun classes that were all divided in two, basically whether it was dangerous or not. Well, not all of them, but most of them. So that was another option. Option D was based on the magic system. So in Sovala, there is the way that magic works is there is a 6-tiered circular system that is represented by a hexagon, and it's basically the kind of like absence or presence of energy, and so it goes, it kind of cycles through. This is one cycle because it just doesn't matter where you start. But if it goes from light, which is full energy, it goes to dark, which is the absence of energy, then goes to solid, a little up from that, liquid, a little up from that, gas, a little up from that, plasma, a little up from that, and then it goes back to light. Anyway, and so that was the idea. Why not use a noun class, the system based on that? Anyway, so yeah, I thought this was really cool. I thought B was really, really cool.
Oh, so A won.
And basically, I was like, well, if B isn't going to win, C or D would be good. Maybe had a slight preference for D over C. Absolutely overwhelming victory for A.
I see why you gave me that look when I said a very batty system.
Yeah, vote was not even close. Not even close. And so... oddly enough, the patrons went with the most boring option, which I think is also the most difficult option. Because with noun class systems like B through D, you just come up with a small word, turn it into an affix, and you're done. But yeah, so now with A, we're going to have to figure out some sort of binary distinction. It's not going to come from words for day or night. It doesn't make any sense. Not for something like that. And most importantly, it's not a noun class system, it's not a gender system unless there is agreement. And so we're going to have to figure out how agreement is going to work. Anyway, so I do have ideas for how to do this. If you have ideas, I want to hear those first because I'm not going to forget mine.
My idea was that because something that we haven't done yet is in some languages, noun class systems are born out of particular sounds, like they get grouped phonologically rather than semantically. Sorry, I was just reading your comment. Jake supported you. Jake had your back. And so I thought that could be interesting, and like the way that the sounds are grouped could be reminiscent of like a key sound in the words for night and day, which is how they got folklorically put into night and day classes, despite the fact that that's not actually like semantically where it came from, or even the grammaticalization where it came from. And so, in other words, some ending takes the shape of a common phonological element, and then it ends up being added if it doesn't have it, but like it was close.
Yeah. So basically, I had the same idea, but more specific.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, I'm glad you had a specific. This was just my
But yeah, this is
blanket.
This is effectively like the same type of thing as what I did with High Valyrian, and actually to an extent Dothraki. High Valyrian, right? The actual distinction is kind of like this overarching vocalic thematic distinction, and then mass versus count nouns, and then that splits into 4 genders, which then got named based on some noun that fit that pattern very, very well.
Yeah.
In the case for Dothraki, it was an old distinction was whether it ended with a vowel or not.
Okay.
A lot of animate words happen to end with a vowel, and so then it just kind of became that thing. And
which is then why you still have kind of odd members that are older that would be in the animate class but not animate, versus later additions that were kind of forced into the animate class.
Yeah, and then also something else happened in the history of Dothraki, which made everything really complicated, which was a lot of words ended up picking up a vowel on the end, but only in the nominative.
Okay.
And so then you have a ton of inanimate words that end in a vowel, which that had to kind of happen because it obscures the nature of the system.
Okay.
That's part of like the motivation for why it got reinterpreted as animate versus inanimate, as opposed to just does it end in a vowel or not, right? So,
as a side note, there is a very clear line where my eyes are not happy with the distance that I can see from these glasses. These are my computer glasses, so my regular glasses have 2 different prescriptions, and my near versus far prescription, here you're blurry and it kind of hurts my eyes because I'm trying to unblur you as I look at you. Here it's not perfect, but it's much better. This is my line. This is my line of where this prescription should not be used.
So if I hold up like a sign, I can just hold it back here and you won't be able to read it?
No, I mean, I will. It's not like that blurry, but like I have to, like my eyes hurt because I'm working to make it work. But anyway.
All right. So
oh, well, thank you, Christian.
load up the bat language sound changes.
It's always a good day to be congratulated on marrying this lovely guy. He's a slice of peach pie. Apparently, he'd be the whole pie if he got good sleep, if he stopped listening to music. Instead, he's just a slice.
By the way, B did finish in 2nd place, but it's a bit like, looking at 2nd place in a race where Usain Bolt is running, It's like, yeah, you technically got silver.
All right. So I am excited then to see. I know this wasn't your favorite option, but I'm excited about it. I was very happy with all of the options that David laid out for these noun classes. And so, like, for me, there was no clear winner in my mind. I was excited about all of them. And so
let's go ahead and kill all these categories. Dead. Oh, what could have been?
I'm sorry you're so disappointed.
Yeah. All right. So here's the thing. We're going to have to find a way. We're going to have to find a way to kill some vowels at the end of words. Or something.
What is our current...
We have a very good set of sound changes that now don't work.
Somewhere we had a list of like just protoforms, right, that we had run through to see, or did we take all those away?
I don't remember. There are a bunch in just the Batlang Lexergy.
That's what I should look up. But I guess to look that up, I should be in the other account, so that way if there's a problem... No, wait, I shouldn't be in that account. Because then if I enter something, it changes in your system. And that is a very unhappy day for you. Let's do...
Didn't we have nasal vowels at some point in time in this language, and then the nasal vowels died?
Yeah. They became tone part of that loss of...
But were the nasals themselves not actually lost?
I mean... No, it was... They only nasalized before prenasal consonants.
Oh, so if it was just a nasal coda, then it just
didn't.
stays. Yeah, I'm actually going to switch.
And then the prenasalization is lost after a nasalized vowel.
I'm going to switch to Lexergy because I think that's where I'm going to be doing the bulk of the work right now. George is going to be streaming Tongues and Runes this Saturday, which is, what, the 6th? And then also the Saturday after that, which is the 13th. So you will have some conlangery this week. See this?
Just
Kinda
some.
Kind of like a little...
Let's
bump
Have a
right
Booba
there.
is going to be doing stuff, right? Or
No, they're not.
Oh, that's next week, huh?
Yeah, we mentioned that.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
I was paying attention. I'm sorry. Okay, so we still have words that come out in modern form that end in consonants. Like we didn't kill codas.
No, but we may have to.
Why? Why not go a Dothraki route and like consonant versus vowel?
It's not really much of a gender, is it? Like, the thing that we're going to need to figure out is how is that going to get copied to something else, you know?
You mean like for agreement?
Yeah.
Well, one, it could get copied to modifiers.
How? No, but yeah, but like what's getting copied?
Well, originally it could come from here's the ending that goes with a vowel versus here's an ending that goes with a consonant, and or a certain type of consonant. Like we could even base it on what kind of consonant is there for like the ease of this ending that just sounds better together. And then later when it's like grammaticalized, that ending no longer matters whether it's a vowel or a consonant, but now it gets applied to modifiers to make it clear, or to verbs or something to make it clear which noun is head, because it's been grammaticalized so far back.
But it's missing one step. In order to make this step, in order to make the jump from this is just like, for example, French liaison, in order to make the jump from that to now we need to interpret this morphologically, not phonologically, the phonological condition that engendered the change must be lost. That's what we're missing. So, like,
I'm going to let you handle this thing because I feel a little bit like I don't understand why that's a problem.
I'm going to give you a concrete example here. All right. We got, okay, protoform on the left. What's this? Call this noun A. And then, oops. My trick, it looks like, didn't work. I'm still beach balling.
Oh, man.
Both those are long, huh? let's say for the sake of euphony, when you had this, very sorry. We picked up, let's just say that.
By the way, Bibloradian will be with George on the 6th and Madeline on the 8th.
We haven't decided word order on this or anything, have we?
No.
Okay. Just, I'm essentially positing a verb initial structure here, just for the hell of it. We will need to decide this if we go forward with whatever this idea is I'm cooking up. Oh, A is strong.
Yeah.
A is strong, so if this is just empathetic, it wouldn't be a strong one. We might have a little harmony. Gosh darn this beach ball one. Okay, so what were our proto vowels? Okay, we just had a, e, u. We could have a tiny little vowel harmony system. I mean, but not right now. 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 Okay, we don't have anything in our rules that distinguish between like an affix or yet not. Well, why would we?
Mm-mm.
Well, let's just say that somehow it ends up low and short. All right, because that's what ultimately we want. All right. So let's say that we had this system. This is a purely phonological system. In other words, an epenthetic vowel is inserted before the or in between, right? The adjective and the noun for euphony. And so rather than saying nan mim, you go nani mim. Whereas ta na mim is fine. And even though I posited that this is a prefix, it could be anything. Okay. I actually have a lot of ideas.
If it weren't a prefix, would the E still appear in that same location, or would it be suffixed to meme? Like
you
non
mean
meme.
non. So there, let me.
No, I mean meme, because right now you have it attaching to meme.
Yep, and so now I'm going to have it. Yeah, so that's another option.
Because you're saying the word order would shift at that point, and meme is no longer the modifier.
No, it is the modifier.
Okay, so I don't understand what's going on.
The order is noun modifier. This is just assuming this for the time being. So this can surface as any one of these three things.
Because it doesn't mean anything. The E.
Yes.
Okay.
Call that red option. We'll call this blue option. Because it doesn't mean anything. It was just inserted for euphony.
Okay.
All
now
right.
I understand. I thought it was meant to mark the modifier.
Oh.
And so when you said it could be a suffix, I thought it would be like me.
Oh, no.
And so that's
Sorry.
why I was confused.
No, this is just phonology at this point. And also, can I get some feedback from people watching? When I experience the beach balling here, are you still getting the audio, or is the audio dropping out?
We'll say at the moment it shows excellent connection, and I think it's just a Pages problem, because the video is still going as far as I can tell.
Stream is totally fine. Audio is fine. Good. Okay. Okay.
So they see
good.
the beach ball.
Thank goodness. I mean, because it's one thing if it's just a Pages problem. It's another thing if it causes everything on my computer, Okay. All right. So this would be stage 1, but at this point, there's essentially no difference in this system between this and I don't remember. So, comment allez-vous? Right? Comment allez-vous? Right? You don't pronounce the Z, but no, actually, I don't think that it works here. I don't think you say allez à Paris, do you? Vous allez à Paris? Do you say that?
Oh no, but notice you say vous allez.
Vous allez. There we go. That's enough. Thank you. So, comment allez-vous? Right? You don't pronounce the S. Vous allez? You do pronounce the S. These two systems are equivalent. And we don't call this gender. That is just phonology. In order to get this to be a gender distinction, you need to do one of. I have two ideas at the moment. So idea 1, basically, nothing goes to vowel after that. That's all. And let's just say it's a copy vowel. And the vowel will be just short, low tone. Copy vowel, short, low tone. All right. So, nan just becomes nana. All right. Now we bring back this system, and even this can work two different ways. I'm going to get rid of blue.
Yeah, Magpie, I'll change that. Good catch, Magpie. You had the environment wrong.
Thank you. Okay. So this is idea 1, where essentially now you have nana imim, and the gender distinction is just this thing. There has to be this little prefix on here for this gender, whereas this one doesn't need it. Option 2 is that the final vowel changes from a to e when it's modified, but only in this gender. This one is obviously fine. This would kill all of our word final codas. So that's what we're losing. Now for idea 2, which I am totally going to remember.
Bye, George.
By George! Uh, idea 2 was based on something that you said. It triggered something. It was super important. All right, well, I don't remember what idea 2 was yet, but I have an idea 1A. And I can think of 2 ways to do this.
I potentially also have an idea.
Good.
I just want to toss this out here. Well, I can't go. So, in thinking about like a suffix form, or even a prefix that gets glommed on, but like, let's say there was a dispreference of these prenasalized consonants coming after another consonant, and so something where like the protoform stays prenasalized consonant after a vowel, but then shifts to like ni after a consonant, because it's just this little piece, and so it takes a reduced form because there's another consonant in front of it. It produces very different results. And so we would get these classes where they're really just based on these 2 very related forms. But like the modern day forms look incredibly different if you put them into Lexergy.
Can you give me, I'll pull up Lexergy on the screen. Can you give me a couple of protoforms to test so I can show everybody?
So what I had just typed in was Tana and then Ndi versus Tan-ni.
Oh, like a double N?
Yeah. Or, let's do a different consonant in there to make it clear. Like, the K will end up getting ejectified. But, like, if you put in a K...
for the N?
Yeah, so that way it's different from the suffix. So, like, takandi versus takni. We're like the only...
on earth?
Exactly. Like, it is so radically different that it's like, in a modern form, you would look at these and say they're nothing to do with one another, but in the proto-form, it was just the difference between a prenasalized stop becoming reduced when it was attached to something ending in a consonant.
Okay. Now walk me slowly through the idea how this gets to gender from the beginning.
I was just going with your, like, difference here, like trying to produce something where you get something different. I was just throwing this out here. I have no ideas because I feel I have less of some sort of preset understanding of how this must happen versus languages do weird things all the time, and analyzing something as a suffix that was never really a suffix and then extending it to other categories to mark that these two things go together is a thing languages do. And like, I'm okay with that, but I feel you're not. And so I have no plans other than you were adding an epenthetic vowel, and I was just pointing out that like it could also just be a difference in what consonant is used.
Okay, but then there's also more than one difference, because the second form has one vowel, or has two vowels, and the top form has three.
Protoform.
Yeah.
Right, but I was just saying the protoform one difference.
There's two differences.
Okay. So I feel like I'm having a different conversation. So like I just threw this out here as a note.
Well, did I
feel free to delete it and ignore it?
Did I put the correct protoforms in?
I can't see the screen because it's too little.
Yeah.
And so you just.
It looks like I did. So this has an ah and an nd.
Because the root is taka and the root is tak. Like, and so what gets attached?
Oh, there. Okay.
And so that was all.
But then there's still two differences.
Okay, yeah.
What if it was this?
You say this, but nothing happened.
Oh, I'm sorry. What are you looking at, Lexergy or Pages?
Well, what you do in Lexergy, I can't read on the screen because it's too small.
Well, I put it in Pages.
It's just now highlighting some things in orange in Pages, but like nothing has been added or removed. Oh, there we go. Now an A has been added in between. But my point would be you wouldn't use the ni form after that because there's a vowel there. This is literally just your, you know, like whether the E gets inserted as consonant versus vowel.
Oh, okay.
What form this thing takes is literally just consonant versus vowel at the end of the protoform. Which is why in my head I was saying the suffix only has one difference.
Okay, okay.
But like the modern form is hugely different.
It really is. Okay.
And Tethys, you all are meant to be looking at Lexergy. I can't see David's Lexergy because it's too small in the preview, and so I can't.
Hold on to that. I'm going to switch real briefly so that you can see what I put in gold at the bottom. And the difference is I'm just gonna here. No, I can. And then okay.
As a side note, Finish's kind of stress-based tone is what inspired my Nomakola tones with how they developed into full tones, but like a lot of different ones. There's a little discussion in chat.
Oh. I think I'm going to have to step out again. But I really wanted to get idea too. It was based on what you were talking about up here. And I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I will be back. Oh, somebody said hello from Germany.
Oh, yeah.
Used to hello.
And also, apparently, I got frozen while saying protoform. And it came out as protoform. That is a new term that you may not be familiar with, and it's you know, the deep structure of a protoform that nobody has access to except the geniuses who created such languages. That's what that is.
No speaker of any language has access to D structure. The only ones who can unlock it are Morris Halley and Noam Chomsky. They each have a key, and in order to take a look at it, they both have to agree. And then
It's like a vault at a bank.
Yeah.
You got to have both keys.
And they can unlock it. And it's, by the way, it's just it's this massive string of all the sounds, because that, of course, is the true D structure. It's just literally everything. And then there are rules to just take away some things and move them around to get them in the right surface order.
I will say as a side note, like ours is showing excellent connection. And so where these like hang-ups happen, I'm not really understanding. Like everything is
Well,
showing that we're fine in
it's-
terms of from here to, you know, space.
It's just my computer. OBS is too much for it, and
Just shouldn't be. We're like on, we got a new one, so it had more of the stuffs.
yeah.
Ugh.
I'm gonna take a look. Oh wow, this is even after I deleted Core Spotlight. Core Spotlight is having
Taking up all of your space.
yeah. Just forced Core
Frustrating.
Spotlight to quit. We'll see if that helps.
Very frustrating.
And there's the other thing that's like kernel task.
Kernel task.
Yeah, kernel task is another one that's always up there,
What?
and I can't quit it.
What is a kernel task?
Like kernel KERNEL.
No, I know, like, but that to me is like, are you picking kernels out of a corn cob? Like, what's your?
No, it's like it does everything on the computer, and right now it's taking up 114% of the computer's memory.
How much was that percentage?
120.
Do they not realize that that should not be possible?
Core Spotlight is back, taking up 163%.
So now you have 300% of your memory being taken up. Where is this extra memory coming from that it's taking up?
Yeah, and that's why we have the beach balling.
I don't understand how anything could take more than what your computer has to offer. And like at some point, there should be some background mechanism that cuts in to say we've got to cut you down on what you're doing because you literally cannot take up this much. I don't understand.
Yep. Oh my God.
Goodness.
Miles, it's so nice to see you. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Boy, David needs
Big shoulder hurt.
nap and allergy pill and
Yeah.
pain pills.
Yeah.
Goodness. Oh, thank you, Logan. Hey, we have multiple cores, I guess. Oh, maybe we should do a Kopiko right now to celebrate Meridian's birthday, and then one later to celebrate whatever we do.
That would cheer me.
Grab one, babe. They're right behind you. Grab two, actually, because I'm here too.
You got it. Oh.
What better way to celebrate Meridian's birthday than eating a candy that she has no interest in? We'll save. We got a whole bowl of candy here for her. Pokemon Hershey Kisses. A little Pokemon on the bottom of each. And so they're all branded with a different Pokemon. But yeah, they all look like little Pokeballs. And so...
This computer has 48 gigabytes of RAM. Cheers, partner.
Oh, cheers. Yes. Woo! Yeah, Tabby, David has played around with shutting down all sorts of things, and it still doesn't seem to happened?
I can't tell if you think that's a lot.
I don't know. Like, is that good or bad? I like literally only use my computer for documents, and so
Yeah.
I guess I'm watching crafting videos when I need a tutorial. Discord and LangTime. That's a
Kopiko. The only way to celebrate Meridian's birthday.
mm-hmm. Oh, it's high,
Yep.
and yet it's not enough.
Uh-huh. I mean, I did this on purpose. I loaded this thing up with as much RAM as I could get, hoping that, it would solve these problems.
Interesting. Magpie said Discord did a fix to, I guess some people were experiencing memory leak. And so when it gets to, like Discord tracks how much RAM it's using. When it gets too high, it shuts off. And you can restart and, get it better. Boy, Tabby, I hope it doesn't go to that, because I set up my computer manually, so I didn't do a full transfer from one laptop to another for many reasons. But it was several days of a painful headache trying to get things like all of our fonts installed, because those kinds of things don't get saved in the cloud. So a lot of stuff is just in the cloud and it doesn't super matter. But things like fonts, things like programs that we have and use, it'd be a lot.
It is indeed weird, Christian. You know who I wish would acknowledge that fact? Apple.
All right. How's that idea come back to you? I was hoping by kind of moving it to the side, maybe.
Unfortunately not. But there got to be something other than the epenthetic vowel. It is a known error, the tabby. Problem is, they haven't done anything about it.
And also the weird thing is it doesn't affect all devices the same. So we got our computers around roughly the same time, so they have to come from the same. And we have the same OS installed. So it's we've got all these same things going on, and yet my computer has been doing a lot better recently, knock on wood. But it's weird. Ooh. Do you know that Linux is a Finnish product?
Yes, I did. I also know that it's pronounced Linux, which I don't like.
I say Linux because it makes me think of Linus, and I like Linus.
Yeah.
From Linus and Lucy.
Sorry, I changed killed to drown because they're not actually killed. They're drowned because a vowel is added, and now they're drowning in the vowels. Linux.
All right, babe.
Oh. I don't know if this was exactly the idea, but it was kind of close.
Mm-hmm.
And this is okay. Like this, I don't know. Again, this is the idea I had based on what you said, but it's very close based on what you said. Still have the epenthesis. Like at this stage, you could just call it this. And then what happens is that is interpreted as a suffix, and so it gets used like even if there's no modifier.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last stage is you actually start, they interpret it as a suffix, so they start adding the suffix to modifiers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that idea. Now, there is an open question like what would happen if with vowel words, but that might introduce the possibility of three genders, which we don't want to do. So.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think there's going to be more words that end in consonants, so this is more likely. Why not beach ball? Anyway.
That end in consonants or that begin?
End. And again, this is only relevant if the order is noun modifier. If the order was modifier noun, suddenly it matters whether the word begins with a vowel or a consonant. But there again, it's more likely that a word is going to begin with a vowel than begin with begin with a consonant than begin with a vowel. So I think that would still be more likely. Then what you would end up with is every single word in the language would begin with a vowel. Either it began with a vowel in the proto stage, or it picked up a copy vowel, or whatever, an epenthetic vowel.
No, it's not David taking a hard stance. It's all of our voters taking a hard stance.
Yeah. Why are you asking me what's wrong with a third gender? It's all of you. You all didn't want it. You're like, there's only two. And we're just saying, okay. Okay. Only other option I can think of is that we kill some consonants. Words are going to become a lot shorter. I think we can have almost everything as a coda consonant.
Right now I think everything. Not almost, but like everything. In the protoform.
Can you list me off all of our proto-consonants? Pretty please.
Can you just understand that if I say a voiceless stop, it's ejective, and a voice stop means it's prenasalized?
Yes.
Perfect.
If I type that in, will it be okay?
Yeah, because I made it so that way Lexergy changes it.
Okay.
All right, B,
Okay.
T, D, K, G, and then glottal stop.
And we allow that as a coda, right?
Yeah, right now it's just CVC.
Okay.
H, TS, DZ, KX. and then R, M, N, Ingma.
And is that it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Glottal stop disappears. All the rest of the codas remain in some form. The ejectives de-ejectivize at the end of a word? I guess they do, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then another option would be to kill some of these. And then maybe that could be interpreted as a gender, though. It would make sense if they would have to be killed in 2 steps. They would need to all be funneled into one sound, then killed, and then that sound could reappear. And again, the reason that we have to take such drastic measures is because we only have 2 genders. If we had an open-ended number of genders, we could do any number of things. But since there's only 2, got to do it this way. And like my only idea was grouping the nasals. Say the nasals got killed again. Like the nasal codes just became, I don't know, nasalization again and then got killed again. I don't know what my idea was there. They could just die. We could have H and H and also G for some reason going to the same thing at the end of a word and then reappearing as H. I don't know. I don't like this idea as much. Maybe B could do it too, and that would give us a good crop. I don't know. I don't like it as much. What are you feeling? You want to try to mess around with this, killing some coda consonants?
Not super, because I don't understand the system or remember it well enough to know if that's a good idea or if we're just going to get like basically the same 3 words over and over again.
Yeah.
One thought I had was leaning into this light versus heavy business. Specifically, the ah being the heavy vowel and
Yeah.
the eu being lighter.
Mm.
And trying to play around with, like, if we did the copy vowel insertion, which I think would be okay, especially if it affected base forms, because if you think about the way the language is going to play out, like, how often would a word occur in its base form versus having something else on it, where that copy vowel wouldn't be needed anymore? Like if we do any sort of affixation on verbs or things like that, like
yeah.
Basically it's like what I did in my Nissa language, right? Where it's like if it's word final, it gets a copy vowel. I don't have any word final consonants. It gets a, well, not copy vowel, but like a harmonized vowel. And if there's as soon as it gets put in the middle of something, though, that vowel doesn't occur because it's got things around it. And so like that's part of my thought is if we do the copy vowel route, we wouldn't necessarily be affecting all forms. But my other thought process is, what if we did something where the difference was that effectively, if it ended in an ah, it already was final stress, but if it ended in one of those other vowels, it's like the end of the word is now sort of unstressed, murky territory. Would they potentially add something to boost its relevance? Which then could be like, oh, it's an ah class versus an in class, like they add an N to kind of boost its relevance because it's otherwise this unstressed light vowel.
First of all, yes, but are we having I break when it's not stressed? Oh, it lengthens. What's lengthen? Because everything lengthens.
Because all the unstressed vowel, or all the open syllables rather lengthen, not unstressed, but open if it's open.
Well, what's interesting is that if you kind of let those weak vowels be at the end of the word when they're not stressed, they end up pretty hefty anyway. So like kani becomes kanye, and kanu becomes kanuo.
I can't figure out where this happens. There we go. Okay. But what if this happened, like things got pushed together in between sound changes 8 and 9, where like something was inserted to kind of strengthen. 9 is where we get the vowel lengthening. And so that's another way of boosting the relevance of open syllables. But like word finally, they boosted with a coda consonant, but didn't affect stress because the stress is still on the first syllable because that's already been assigned and part of the language. And it only appears finally, and it works to sort of help it be a heftier unit at the end, but then that later affects vowel lengthening, which means, it's no longer going to be a long vowel, which again also affects tone eventually. So we're going to get like a potential range of differences by having it added, glommed on in between 8 and 9.
Just some consonant?
Yeah.
It would have to not be a glottal consonant.
Okay.
Right? No. Oh, so when it says loss of glottalization, it only means glottal stops.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh. Isn't it kind of weird that we're adding something to boost a syllable and then immediately losing something?
I don't know. You're the one who has to answer your own questions. It could take place somewhere else. It just needs to be before 9. So if that's your issue, like it could go somewhere else just before 9 to get that potential.
Well, I mean, the only thing it could do is go directly before. So loss of cotoglottalization is 9, is that correct?
Yeah.
It can either go after or before 8, that's it. Because stress assignment, at least in lexergy, happens immediately before that. So it can't go any earlier.
That's in lexergy. Stress is assigned at the beginning of the language. Really.
Okay.
And I think I had to do it that way to match what was needed.
Oh, okay, I see. Because if in lexergy, basically, if the rule isn't relevant, they don't write it there. So like if a rule didn't matter for a particular form and that's the only
Yeah.
one you're looking at, it doesn't. Oh, I got it. My bad. My bad. My bad. Sorry.
Although I will say we do, I forgot that we had a stress shift, but I don't see that. Oh no, I had to do that to clean up rules because it was making syllabic consonants stressed.
Yeah.
That's literally just a, this is not what we wanted. A computer versus a human would have, like, a human
Right. Yeah.
understands
Yeah.
what to do. A computer was like, oh, new syllable, gonna stress it. And we didn't want that. That has nothing to do with the language. That is all computer needs to be told. And I didn't know how to write that somewhere else in the system that it would make sense. So,
I'm so sorry. I was supposed to do the thing. My bad. Okay. When not stressed.
oh, Jonathan says that one was not too bad.
Thank God.
However, Ilona says that was scary.
Oh, because it. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Is that your computer? The
Yeah.
fan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
The only other thing I can think of that I think might have too many devastating consequences is that it actually picks up the glottal stop as a way of strengthening it, and then of course it's immediately lost, and so.
But in the meantime, it has blocked certain things from happening.
Oh yeah, all the vowel lengthening, like.
Although, I think glottal stop is lost, if I read the rule correctly. Sorry, I meant to say that, and then we were having a different discussion, and I started looking at the stress thing.
No, glottal stop is lost. I never said it wasn't. I was talking about H.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, if we introduced glottal stop to strengthen it, all those word final vowels that weren't ah would be shortened.
Okay.
So we would definitely de-housify this language.
Didn't you want to try to shorten up some more vowels here and there?
Well, not all of them.
Well, this is only word final for something with a modifier after it, yeah? Like this
Let's
is
see.
like it doesn't have to be, it's more like this is the head word and we want to make sure the head word is preserved, so we're going to add this glottal stop in its full form, and then like that, and then later it gets kind of interpreted that these vowel, whatever these forms are, like however we end up actually implementing a system like this, a certain ending gets emblematized as representative of the class, and that gets used to mark something else in the language for there to be agreement. Right, the vowel lengthening kind of happens before that. That's how it was. Okay.
Since it's only affecting the weak vowels, we just lose a ton of nie and or ie and uo.
But not. I'm not fully understanding why this is happening. If you do. So you don't actually lose it in every instance. Just a second, let me finish doing my little comparison. So like tiki as a protoform comes out as tiegi, long vowel, not tiegie.
Oh, yeah,
right?
it's because it's stressed on the final syllable.
And so, yeah, you're only. But then why is taku coming out as taguo? Ta should be the stress syllable.
It is.
So why is it guo and not gu?
Because it's getting lengthened because it doesn't end in a glottal stop. Because every vowel is lengthened.
Okay, so gu is unstressed.
Yeah.
Okay. Tuku, where's the stress?
Final.
Okay, so why is it tuo gu and not tu guo?
Because the unstressed ones go to wo.
But they don't. And like, I guess that I don't understand where the problem is with losing. Like we're still maintaining a lot of these.
Just not at the end of words. Is what you're saying.
Like it literally has to be. So closed syllables don't affect stress? I don't remember how stress works.
They do.
Okay, so tinki, Tinki,
Yeah.
comes out as ta, t, like click. And ta shouldn't be possible unless it's unstressed, is what I'm hearing.
That's weird. Oh my god. This might be a Lexergy error. I'm not 100% sure. But the first stress assignment, it groups the N with the following syllable.
Okay.
And so then both syllables are seen as light. And because of that,
Gotcha.
Stress is assigned to the final syllable. I don't think we intended that.
Well, no, this is a I can't code error.
Oh.
It should be a consonant.
Oh, how do you say good night? I don't know. Hiver?
I wonder if I need to redefine why we don't do anything. You know, oh, I can play around in this because it won't affect your system. Okay, I think I just need to do. I think I just need to do stress assignment before redefining syllables, because the redefining syllables had to happen because of deletions, and then it would be like error, error. And so it came early, but like it came one step too early. Stress needs to be assigned first.
Got it.
Okay. So I'm going to go into the actual system. Are you going to lose anything?
No, that's fine. Yeah, good thing we went through this though, because I wouldn't have caught that. Nice job.
Oh, I feel like being congratulated for making a mistake. Okay. And I don't know if that changes anything with any of the other forms. We've never really, well, we don't have that many forms in our document, so we should be good. But I've changed it in the system, so now is it updated? Like if you put in the form, do you get the correct?
Let's see. Yeah, and so now it's ding lié, ding lié.
Okay. So one thing about doing this, and I know that, you know, we will lose some word final, but that would mean that there had to be a heavy syllable in front of it. In some cases, it will actually just introduce the vowel breaking in another syllable. So tinky versus tinky. You still get the vowel breaking, it's just now in different syllables.
Yeah.
Although I guess we wouldn't, because if the glottal stop came as an addition after stress was assigned,
Yeah.
then we wouldn't. Okay.
Yeah. We would essentially lose word final EA and UO everywhere. And they would just come out as A and O. Damn thing, and then the sneeze goes away.
And then you unmute it for your not safe for work language. Yeah, no sneeze. Just was preparing.
What if work was like an uwu version of the word work?
Woo woo wook. Woo woo wook woo.
Go into work.
I don't know. This doesn't feel productive.
Yeah, I kind of like the EA and UO at the end. I know that we've got a lot of long vowels. I know that. But I kind of like the EA and UO.
Feels like what we need to do is talk about some ways that this can happen and then make this our poll, because I don't think we're getting anywhere right now, really.
Yeah, well, we've got 3 ideas. How happy or unhappy are you with each of these ideas? And I will go ahead and recap these for everybody so that it would be much more comprehensible. All right. All of these are essentially taking as the primary distinction consonant final versus vowel final roots. That is ultimately the distinction. The place where it bumps is with modifiers, where the idea is that the noun and modifier pairing are supposed to go together, and in order to make them more euphonious, it's the consonant-consonant clusters that are problematic. So option 1A says that copy vowel is inserted, copy vowel comes at the end, and it's got a low tone. And so it's kind of interesting. We because we have a 5 vowel system now. So if you had a word like if you had a word that was this, sorry, I'm switching to pages. If you had a word that was like this, it would come out as, sorry, like that. It would come out as kanet. Right? And so then the question is, well, what is its copy vowel going to be? Is it going to be kaneti or kanete? I don't know. Anyway, but that makes this idea kind of interesting. But anyway, copy vowel, these things pick up a copy vowel, and so we no longer have words that end in consonants, or at least nouns. I don't know about verbs or things like that. Wow, that's actually a super interesting question because that has implications for our adjectives, doesn't it? And it might point in favor of 1B over 1A. Anyway, one version of this is that oh, okay, this would need to be a language-wide change. Otherwise, this wouldn't make sense. Anyway, the point is, like, the first step in distinguishing these CC things is that there was some sort of epithetic vowel inserted. We call it E for the time being. It could be E and U, I don't know. Anyway, that is, so in one option, that is now agreement. So you have a noun that ends in a vowel and it takes agreement, but only certain nouns that end in vowels take agreement. The other option is that when it's unmodified, it ends in a particular vowel that is a copy vowel. When it's modified, it takes this standard epenthetic vowel. And then adjectives aren't modified. But only certain nouns would do this, not others. And so it's kind of like agreement. It's like gender agreement, but it happens on the noun as opposed to the adjective. It's like the adjectival version of the construct state. Very strange, but it still counts as agreement. All right, so that was this one. 1B is a little bit simpler. They just get that copy vowel, but then adjectives, oh. Well, this doesn't make as much sense anymore, does it? I guess the epenthetic vowel is inserted and is interpreted as part of the noun, That was it. But the epenthetic vowel is itself a copy vowel. And so then the question becomes, when there's agreement, does it take that same vowel that the noun does, or does it take a copy vowel? In other words, nanamima versus nanamimi. Okay. And then there's the reanalysis of epenthesis. This is taken to be that. And then there's agreement. And the agreement is always the same because the vowel is always the same. So in other words, like, whatever we decide on that epenthetic vowel, it's going to be the marker of the noun class. And if we decide that it is going to be, if it's going to be a weak vowel, it's got to be e or u, we could decide that it harmonizes. And so then we would just have one class because it's still triggering the agreement, right? I think. I don't know. Maybe we couldn't do. Maybe we couldn't do that with this one. Wow, this is a lot sketchier than I thought it was.
Okay, I have a potential idea. One is semantic base, and the other is taking that to a phonological basis. The first is that there are like maybe a couple modifiers that end up just getting used a lot as our little bats are flying around, that end up kind of becoming markers in and of their own rights, where I was thinking one could mean heard and one could mean seen, like tree heard, tree seen, because they use both eyes and echolocation where necessary. And so, but like for trees, it's like they're more likely to be seen versus something maybe heard that's further away or smaller, or like, so it can kind of start to be grammaticalized from there.
Does that diverge from the poll decision though?
No, because like one, we could also use different words to eventually it'll get to day and night, where like based on my understanding, bats' eyes are good enough that they actually see very well in both daylight and nighttime. But that low light, their vision is not good enough to see everything, so they use echolocation more, is my understanding, at night. So something heard would be the night class. That's my understanding. Fix my misunderstandings, all you biology folk. Another idea, kind of based on that same notion, is something more that would just be like call and response, where like they would often shout out like, oh, tree, and then the bat behind them may use their version of like Roger or copy, like tree heard, like got you. And like the form that takes could take different forms depending on whether the noun is a vowel or consonant stem at the end. And that ends up breaking them into two classes because it's like what form that modifier takes. It attaches most naturally in one or the other. And thus creating different sounds, where it's like, for instance, it could be a vowel initial root, and like when it is a vowel ending, it drops the vowel initial and just attaches the consonant or whatever's there, versus when it's consonant final, it takes the initial vowel and drops the consonant. So like if that thing that gets said is a VC root, and then suddenly you've got these two classes where it's whatever vowel we choose is the ending of all this class, and whatever consonant we choose is the ending of all this other class. And then we can preserve endings, we can preserve a lot of things, because this would only be something that would happen with nouns. And it all came from this, like, and again, this modifier could then just get associated with night and day, because a lot of vowel final nouns happen to be nouns that they associated with daytime, and a lot of consonant final ones were things they associated with nighttime, and so folklore took over.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Let's not box ourselves in. Affix. Okay. Okay.
Oh, and Jake is saying if we do something like this, group death at Kopicon is of course associated with night. Oh, and by Madeline, that's who is leaving. I saw some stay grammars. I was trying to figure out who. Oh, and Miles too. Then also just thinking ahead, if we did go that route of sort of something that gets attached because it's so frequently used as a sort of call response type thing, when they're using more than one word, they could end up effectively saying I copy you on both, and so they could end up adding this thing to adjectives and making it match whatever was added to the noun. Or something.
Yeah.
Something.
I don't think we even need work to get to that point, but that is heard as well. Oh. These wouldn't be I's anyway. These would be E and O because of the general drop. Forgot about that.
Which one, sorry?
All of them.
Oh, I see where you changed it on kanit becomes kaneti.
Yeah, they would either be E or O, so that's just a note.
Does Lexergy know that happens? No.
It does, but
Oh, there, I got it. But only when it's following a closed syllable?
I mean, the quality changes either way. It either surfaces as A or EA, O or UO.
Gotcha. I see what's happening. Okay.
But yeah, this is more of a stress thing. Just want to make sure. I feel like, by the way, and I think this is probably accurate, I think we've lost almost all of our viewers. And I think it's because this was just a really tough day.
I expect a lot of our viewers, though, in terms of being able to put up with a lot of confusion and staring because they stuck with us after the famous stream where we figured out how time works in Beaver language. True. And they stuck through that.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that it was like a solid hour of confusion.
Yeah. But of course, I think especially some of those who voted in such a way know that this is their fault. Because if B, C, or D had won, it would just be like, what's the word for this? That's the affix now. And we would have been done in like 10 minutes.
I feel like that is potentially, yeah, I feel that you can't say there's no language at all out there with a small number of noun classes that were divided into like two, or maybe there were originally more and then they sounded too similar and so they collapsed into two. Like we could have done that. We could have built 4 noun classes.
True.
But created inflectional endings or beginnings that ended up sounding so similar that they just suddenly became 2.
Oh my God.
We just need a modern form with 2 sound classes, David, or noun classes.
Oh my God, that's a really easy way to get out of this. I mean, this is famously what happened in all the Northern Germanic languages. They all had masculine, feminine, neuter, right? And then masculine and feminine just collapsed. Just kind of funny that those two collapsed, but they did. And so that's how they ended up with the common and neuter genders.
And so
this is a fab idea.
And that could ease all of your concerns. It gives us immediate access to how does this grammaticalize and get reified in other parts of the grammar.
Dutch does too? I didn't know Dutch did that.
Oh yeah, Dutch only has 2. I think, am I wrong in saying that German is... No, I have
German,
to be wrong.
Yiddish?
German and Yiddish are the only 2 with 3 still. Like 3 clearly marked noun classes. Because I feel like a lot of them collapsed. I may be totally wrong. It's just like going through my list of Germanic languages, I feel like a lot of the systems collapsed, and I may be misremembering. I may be skipping over key languages. I feel like misremembering, because I feel like I'm listing a lot of the Germanic languages in my head. So anyway, yeah, it's a common thing to collapse those systems. And in English, they collapsed so hardcore, we lost them because they all were just coming out of schwa. It was just a super hardcore collapsation.
Is there anything that's like this but even more similar? So here there's a conscious choice to have it be in D when it attaches to that and E when it attaches to that. Is there anything that intervocalically just gets leveled, destroyed?
So I will say, David, even if we wanted to have the same form, the pre-nasalized D after a consonant versus after a vowel behaves very differently. And if you then reduce the forms from there, you would get, like, put in tak D versus taka D, assuming that D is the suffix. You end up getting tak die, which would be, shortened one way, versus tak guolie, which could be shortened a completely different way.
Yeah.
And so...
That's too much. So now we're looking for something that's really, really, really close because we need to collapse some of the genders.
Well. Jonathan is saying Icelandic and Norwegian still have all three genders. In my head, I thought they had lost them. I misremembered.
Yeah, I thought Norwegian had. Icelandic, I just didn't remember the language. I knew that they had the three genders, but I could have sworn Norwegian had neuter and common. That's my bad there.
Yeah, I thought it was a northern shift. I thought they had lost those. And that, just like I said, misremembering. Oh, Magpie is saying for Norwegian, it depends on the dialect, but for the most part, they have merged. Are you trying to decide on forms that you like right now, or
forms that would have different protoforms, but would end up sounding either identical or almost the same?
Sorry, 100%. I thought you were looking for a form that would produce two very different results, so that it could be the same modifier after, like for number 3, idea 3. Like if we attached one versus the other. Anyway, I was not understanding what you were looking for. I'm sorry.
I really need my computer to not be super frozen right now, so I need to do a bunch of stuff.
So if we happen to have like two noun class markers that end in, or sorry, that are like a prenasalized stop followed by a vowel, and attach it to a root, I think they end up looking very similar except the consonant.
Yeah, but it's the consonant. I was trying to get the closest I can get right now, because like I've written these two things. We're looking at pages, right? I've written these two things, and this is really close, except that it affects a very obviously huge change in the vowel here. But gie, like gie and yie, very, very, very close. I like that. Ooh, I do have an idea. Ye and hie are very, very close. But then again, you have the vowel problem. So like, manahie versus manuoye. And then of course the tones are different too. Like if I could get manahie versus manaye, like you could see how those would collapse. Like that's a no-brainer. If there was a really close match where the prenasalization feature was the same, then we would be saved.
What do you mean? Sorry.
Well, the prenasalization feature is what is is what is making this, the tone and the vowel shift.
Mm.
And so that's why we can't have like manahie versus manaye, because the only way you get the ya is if you also change the nuol, then it's manuoye, and that's not that doesn't sound enough. But anyway, all the ones that do nuol don't sound like each other. All the ones that don't also don't sound like each other. Yes.
But what if these grammaticalize before the sound changes? In which case the protoforms need to sound a lot alike. And then they merged, and then they were run through the sound changes.
Okay. Problem is we don't have a lot of protoforms, and they're all pretty acoustically distinct. Unless it was like ending with a consonant. Because yeah, they're all pretty distinct.
But like a marker that's mba, and then another one that's ma, and then they would collapse. Or maybe one is, ri, and another one is rin, or ri, with, a glottal stop.
Yeah.
Like effectively just like or it could also just be how the word was shortened, because it's like the protoform could be 2 syllables, ari, or uri, something with a light vowel, so that way the isn't attracting it, but like uri, and then ri with a glottal stop, and then the u drops out because it's on stress, because it's being stressed on that final syllable because there's nowhere to pull it, and then the ri with the glottal stop loses the glottal stop anyway, and so suddenly you've got these two classes where it was like uri versus ri, and it changes.
Okay.
Which, I mean, isn't it like super fantastic? Because I know a lot of times we're trying to think through, like, in protoforms, you want to assign speakers that process of like, well, these two forms are so similar, but like if it just naturally starts getting marked and then reduced, like I think we could find protoforms that could end up being reduced in similar ways or being confused and therefore just sort of put together. Or even just like two very different nasals, because I think I could understand how over time ma, nga might be confused, just hearing the nasal and being like, well, I know there's a nasal followed by na, but.
I have to get going. It's 4, but. I thought if it ended in an unstressed I, the tone would always be the same, but it's not. So like, if you do like manahi, it comes out manahie, both low tone. If you put in manaki, it's managie, a contour tone. Why is that?
Is this a problem with me or a problem with, you trace the changes, like where is this happening?
Tonogenesis ejectives.
That affects
Because
it.
I'm looking at them and I'm like, they're voiceless stops. No, they're ejectives. And that makes
But the circumflex means falling, right?
Yeah.
So falling versus low tone, like that could be easily confused.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Then right now, closest match I think we get is manahie. Manahie. Falling tone from a kha versus manahie. Low tone with an H. And like, I mean, there's also glottal stop, manahie. But I think that ha versus ha might be the closest that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. Okay.
Do you have an idea of what you want to do
Yeah,
for the poll?
Yeah.
Because we gotta get ready.
Yeah.
There is a child's birthday we need to celebrate.
Yeah, it's an exciting day. And I'm just going to write down these two things. So that is an adjective versus that. Because the ye, yeah, that changes too much. Yeah, it's too bad. Ye is lovely. Might just throw this on there as well. And then just so I remember. Okay, and I don't think that I want to bother with any of the other forms. So close with some of these, but then the whole vowel thing being different, it's just, yeah, it's got to be that. Okay, all right, spicy poll this week, so when it eventually gets up, everybody pay attention, and it's going to be up for a long time because we're not going to be here next Thursday. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. All two of you that stayed. Mateus, if you are still here, is a big hug to you. Big hug. And also, even though she's not here, I wanted to let you know Madeline has apparently never tried fried catfish.
Really?
Yeah.
Where she lives, I'm a little surprised. She's on the
Me too. Basically, not California or New York.
But anyway, no. For anyone who hasn't had fried catfish, make sure your first experience with fried catfish is at a place you can trust for such things, because catfish is a type of fish you have to know how to cook or it comes out very badly. And so if you have a bad first experience, I want you to assume that means it was not cooked correctly.
Yeah.
Try again. And if all else fails, I'll give you directions to my dad's house.
All right. Well, stay grammar, everybody. And yeah, we will see you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.